bubbles hanging on my walls.
You are.
Yep. Hey, welcome to another episode of the Black Guy Who Tells podcast. I'm your host, Rod, joined as always by my co-host, and we're live on a Saturday, which means it's a feedback show, which means whatever you send in for feedback throughout the week, we're going to talk about it.
We are.
The official weapon of the show is
the folding chair.
An unofficial sport.
It's bullet ball.
And bullet ball extreme. And you know how it is, guys. It's we're just gonna get in here and we're gonna talk about all your stuff, because I know you guys left a lot of feedback, emails, voicemails, all that stuff. But the first people we talk to are the people that donate. And shout out to my man David from Brooklyn, who let me know that I had the donation button was no longer showing on the site. There were some updates to the site, and I had to put some stuff on there and fix it and all this. And I guess I forgot to put the donate button. So if you've been trying to donate to the show and you've been going, what the fuck are they talking about? That's my bad. It's on the right-hand side of the website, theblackguywhotips.com. Look on the right-hand side, turn your phone sideways if you have to so you can see the sidebar, and then you can donate. And you can donate any amount, one time, recurring. Everyone gets the same shout out. Doesn't matter what it is. So just want to let you know. Now let's give those people props that donated, and then we'll talk about the people that left comments on our website, who left voicemails, the people who left comments on YouTube, the people that Q&A and polls and all that stuff from Spotify, emails. We're going to get into all that stuff. Thank you.
May I have your attention? You are now listening to Charlotte's Own Rod and Karen. We welcome the good folks of time to the Black Guy Who Tips.
That's right.
Yes.
New money, new honey. Let's talk about it. We got a recurring donation from Annie. Annie, I hope you're okay. David from Brooklyn. Speaking of the aforementioned David from Brooklyn. Tom W. Jr. Thank you, Tom. Michael S. Dana R. Bomani Jones. You might know him. Jane M. Laura E. Nicholas Z. Noel W. Sonia B. Pete B. No relation. Ricky A. Pretty Rick, what they call him. Johanna M. David from Brooklyn again. Okay, David is just very generous this month. Douglas R. Latricia C. and Laura F. Thank you, everybody who took the time out to pay us. We appreciate that. We're big fans of money over here. I don't know if y'all heard. But thank you very much. All right, let's get into the, what do I normally do? I want to say comments on the website. Does that sound right to everybody?
Do we have any?
No, 5-star reviews.
I'm about to say, do we have any iTunes reviews?
I feel rusty right now. All right. So we got 4 new 5-star reviews.
Yay!
Love Rod and Karen. This is from Sean Forever 98. Rod and Karen always make me laugh. They are awesome people. I love their thoughtful and hilarious conversations. Love you both. Sean, thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
Appreciate those 5 stars coming from America.
We do.
Everybody left us 5-star reviews from America right now in the last few weeks. If you're out there listening internationally, we will read your review.
We will.
So if you across the pond, if you're down under, wherever, if you're from the continent, leave us that 5-star review. We want to know what y'all think. I know, you know what? A lot of people don't know this. We're pretty big in Trinidad and Tobago.
Come on through.
I don't know why, and I don't know how. Maybe it's just a couple of my old college dorm mates listening.
Yes.
I don't know if they spread the word. I don't know what we saying that's hitting with them, but I always see it on the charts. We be charting,
y'all.
We be charting over in the TNT. Okay.
Come on through.
I know they linemen over there. Okay. That's all the slang I remember. Well, no, I do remember some other slang, but I can't say it. I don't know what those words mean, but they sounded. My roommates cussed a lot. My Trinidad. I'm pretty sure. Well, I'll say it. Y'all tell me what it means. Mother skunk. I think I know what it means, but
I know what it sounds like.
I know what it sounds like. And I didn't want to say it to anybody.
And it does not sound like mother of a skunk. That might be how it translates. I don't know.
I don't know.
Me either.
5 stars from my virtual aunt and auntie. Hopefully this review posts this time. I can't believe I've been listening for officially 2 years now. This show has entertained me so much over the last couple of years, introduced me to not only new perspectives and viewpoints, but other shows and personalities. You guys rock. Hearing y'all's voices weekly is such a joy. Lastly, Rod, I love the petty. That's my style. Thank you, CJ Nike. Oh, yes, banter from Sierra. This is the only way I listen to the news because there's nothing wrong if it's funny. I have listened to you guys since I was married and pregnant, and that was 12 years ago. Damn. My son has grown the past 11 years listening to the Blackout Tips. While I'm dying laughing, we out here, the Blackout Tips gang for life. Yes, each one teach one.
Thank you.
That's what I always say. Play our podcast for the kids. They need to know.
The kids need to know.
They need to know the real truth.
Let the kids know you can't handle the truth.
Putting 5 on it. This is from PK Hintz, who says, found my way over to Apple Podcasts just to put in my 5-star review for this amazing podcast. Yes, shout out to all the people getting new iPhones for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And you can finally know that word. Hop on Apple Podcasts and leave us the 5-star review. I know it's been laying on your heart for a long time.
Yes, and even if you're not an Apple subscriber, you can make an iTunes account. And you ain't got to be on Apple devices and go on iTunes.
Correct.
And leave us a 5-star review. So you know what? Just because you're like, I don't mess with Apple ecosystem, you can still leave us 5 stars. What they got to do with it?
PK Hens goes on to say, I fell behind and I've been binging the last 2 months or so of episodes and heard the episodes with Mike Kaplan and Living Color in the same morning. Such amazing conversations, and they show the wide range of this podcast. And then Rod, it just ends with Rod. I don't know what. Thank you. I don't know if they got cut off.
Yeah, I must say you must have been trying to go on iTunes. Was like, you know what, you reached the letter max.
I don't know.
The character max.
Thank you, everybody who took the time to leave us those 5-star reviews. It matters a bunch.
Yes, it does.
It's definitely,
let us know we loved.
Yeah, it's definitely how we make that flop. You know, we can't make money without promotion everywhere because we're independent podcast. So when y'all make those 5-star reviews, it hits their algorithm. It suggests us to a few more people and people that listen to like-minded podcasts and stuff. So like I said, we appreciate y'all for that. All right, let's get into the actual website and all the comments. But of course, first we need to play some music so that I know where to put commercials later. All right. The first episode of last week is a feedback episode, 2805, Let Karen Cook. We got 6 comments on it. Appia says, in my job, using the toilet at home most times is not an option. I have one of the extrovert jobs, so I'm proud to say that I've used many different toilets. I got no virus or bacteria problems ever. People who talk about very young people and call them millennials show how out of touch they are. They are not 20-year-olds who just entered the workforce.
Right.
Mr. Appia and I are as old as you, K and R are. I'm even a migrant myself who came to Germany when I was 12. We were pretty poor sometimes. We both very successful with earning steady money and doing way, way better than our parents. We have 2 paid off houses in a pretty expensive location. My parents live in the second for free now and are helping us with the kids. Aww. In a small apartment we rent now. I remember the teacher at school who told us this will be impossible for our generation, and still I wouldn't say if I can do it, everyone can. I have immense grit, but also I had parents who supported me. I'm healthy and I have a partner who is responsible with money. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I think being proud of our accomplishments is still fair game. You know, that's a lot that you accomplished. And,
right.
And also acknowledging like, yo, I'm pretty fortunate. Things worked out. I feel like that's a easy balance. And I don't know if it's if it's as much a thing in Germany, but I know in America there's a lot of this. We worship capitalism as like a country here. Is to me, capitalism is white supremacy and capitalism are the real religions of America.
Yes, sir.
And by capitalism, I don't mean like the lie that people say capitalism is, you know, because I think that lie is an attractive lie that I would love to live it. Like this, hey, if you work hard, you'll make your money and you'll be able to take care of your people and yourself. And it's all just about making sure you go to work and you do what you need to do every day. I love that. You know, the capitalism we talk about here is supposed to be like, if someone is racist, it'll be so bad for business, they'll go out of business. So you won't even need to get the government involved. That's the lie of capitalism.
Yes,
here.
And that's not how that bullshit works.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I call it a lie. You see what I'm saying? See, when I say it's a lie of capitalism, Karen, that means it don't work like that. But the point being, like, I don't know if other countries do that as hard as we do. So what someone here might say in your situation would not be to acknowledge any of the privilege. They often even go so far as to make up hardships and be like, you know, my parents came from the dirt. We lived in a dirt road. And then you find out that's not true. You know, the owner for the Indianapolis Colts, Jim Irsay, went on a Twitter rant this week, and he's a billionaire. And part of his thing was, I built everything from the ground up. And like people immediately pointed out, you inherited $800 million something dollars, whatever the amount, some crazy amount from your father. Like,
right. What is this?
That's just part of your story, and that's okay. I'm not saying you're the same as him, but you know what I mean.
But yes,
acknowledging
there
like
the difference.
There's some privilege there, you know, parents, college, a good mate, health fortunes. That shit all help. It all helps. She also says, update on my potential friend with the same first name. I found out that from her that she is a scientist in the pharmaceutical field. Perfect. We have yoga, the first name, and pharmaceuticals in common, and we live close by, and she moved here recently. I see a real chance here. I found her on LinkedIn and sent her a contact request. I hope she sometimes opens it. I hope so too. EVE says in a reply to Appia, I'm so invested in this. You should ask her out for coffee after yoga. You can do this. Aww. Yeah, but whatever you don't say, hey, I like my coffee like I like my friends. Black.
Please
don't say that. Because if you say that, you gonna then a bunch of people gonna write in, and you know these. Listen, I'm gonna be honest. A lot of these people are barely hanging on right. Hey, they're like, wow, this white woman be writing into the show, and a lot of these black people, you know, I'm not saying they're racist, but you know they are skeptical, you know, and they waiting on you to mess up one day. And I think you've been doing a stellar job.
One eye.
I think you've been doing a stellar job so far, but just be careful. Too. Be careful. They turned so quick. You saw how they did Britain. They don't give a fuck.
They would turn in a heartbeat, baby.
Michael. Okay, Michael. Thanks for another great feedback show, and only 3 hours this time. I always love listening to these episodes and hearing the things that the Black Autistic community has to say. Appia, drop a link if you ever decide to do a spinoff. Winky face. Much love to you all. Stella says, I wanted to reply to classic R&B lovers' comments and let them and others know the Biden-Harris administration is covering COVID vaccines for those who have insurance, but the vaccine isn't fully covered for those who don't have health insurance to cover getting vaccinated under the Bridge Access Program. Go to vaccines.gov to find locations that are part of the program. I wasn't fully covered, and this program helped me not pay a cent out of pocket to get the latest COVID booster shot at Walgreens. Tippers, please spread this information to everyone that you know and get the word out. I will also make a Twitter thread with these details. P.S. I tried leaving this message on the YouTube channel, but it kept getting deleted. Yeah, because YouTube, anything about vaccines and shit, they try to treat like, they basically default to misinformation. I was talking to Andy and Randolph this morning. They sent a text where they had an episode from 2022 taken down, and it was obviously an episode where they talked about anti-vaxxers, and they got taken down for misinformation. So YouTube, I guess, is cracking down still.
Wow. Oh, and also, in addition to the PSA that the person put in.
Mm-hmm.
I also know that the government has their second round of COVID vaccine tests they're sending out for free. And so if you didn't do the first round, you could do the first and the second round back to back, because when I first had learned about it, I think it was like the third or fourth round. And so you can continue to do it until you kind of max it out. So just Google free government test and the website will pop up. And when you tap on the website, all you gotta do is leave a name and address. And this is like per household. Like every individual person can't do this one, but it's like so many per household, and they will send you COVID tests. And if so, like I said, if you missed the first one, you do it twice. If you already done it once, this is the second time. I just did mine like yesterday, a few days ago, and it started November the 22nd. Is the first round. Is the second round, and the first round already be done out there. So you don't have to spend that money in the COVID testing, because those COVID tests can be very, very expensive, $25 to $40 a pop, depending on what your state and stuff in. You know, that price may vary, but that could be very expensive. And so it's best to go ahead and have the test here. So if you catch a cold, you go, well, do I have COVID? You can know, because me and Roger went to go visit family and stuff for the Thanksgiving, and we both tested ourselves prior to going, just to be sure.
Then of course, after the comments, we gotta check YouTube, see what y'all said about Let Karen Cook over there. Let's see, we got Linda who says, she just said basically she tried to leave that message and it wasn't there. So Yita says, congratulations to the new councilman. That's right. We found out that we had a new councilman that listened to the show. Congratulations. And let's check Spotify for podcasters for Let Karen Cook. We got Q&A. The Q&A was WWGSD. What would George Santos do? Alumni says, lie, and lie some more. You're right, King, of fake it till you make it. Now, of course, Alumni is an elected official now, so hopefully he's not paying too much attention to George Santos. Adabola says, lie, scheme, and steal. Cedric says, tell some more lies, steal some more money, and run for re-election. Nelson says, I guess if he feels like a grifter like MTG can be elected and re-elected, he probably feels safe. We'll see. Kui says, or Key possibly, hey alumni, congrats. As a 2-term council member, get you 2 or 3 OGs you trust because you'll definitely need help outside of the council, and please be patient with yourself because this is a lot. Oh, look at our council members supporting each other. Okay, we believe in elections over here.
Come on.
Alicia says, you played the song I asked about in my previous comment during this episode between 119 and 151. I don't think it's a Felt 5 song. Randolph even played it as an outro before. I'm going to find this song. So I played the song on this episode of Let Karen Cook. Okay, so you know what? Just for you, I guess we're going to have to, for the second time in 2 weeks, replay the episode on the episode. So you said 119.51. Okay, let me see if I can find 119.51. Wait, how do I fast forward to this? Spotify, what you doing? Okay, so if I try to play this, we're going to figure this out live on the air. Try to play this by clicking here. Where does the player go? Okay, up here, and then
I listened.
Fast people who to. All right, now let's go back. Fast forward to 119.51. All right, 119.51. Where's that? Going around here. I just realized I could do this, and it still won't mean that I'll know the song. Because I need to know the name, and I don't know. I have all the names memorized. Some reason it's not playing. God damn it, son of a gun.
You need to go to another player?
This is ghetto. All right, I'll try it on the actual Spotify player. Man, I must really love our listeners.
You do.
Because I know this is terrible podcasting, but this is the episode for y'all. This is the episode for y'all. So, all right, let's see if I go to the Spotify player and go to 119.51, if it'll let me. Okay. See.
Albums, please go check him out.
Very talented. No,
It's some shit.
That is Felt 5, but let me. Okay, so. Okay, so that's the beat. And now if I go to Infrared Crypto.
That sounds like some of his music.
Man, I don't know. I don't know what beat that is.
But I know that song.
Is that it? I don't know if that's the same beat. Here's the one.
This is the beat.
Okay, yeah. So that beat is called Theory. And I think that's a crypto beat. I think
so.
Yeah, because those are DJ Jaffa. So I think I think it's an infrared crypto beat called Theory. All right, we solved that mystery, and you're welcome. Okay. All right, let's.
We had to solve that Scooby-Doo mystery.
Woo. All right, episode 2806.
Because it was gonna bother us.
Diddy settles with Cassie. We only had 2 comments on this one. The first one is from Appia, of course. You know she loved Puff Daddy.
Appia is like, take that. I'll be first.
About accepting compliments. When someone tells you did a great job and you say, no, it's nothing. You say to the complimenter giver that you have bad judgment. Even if sometimes I also wonder if it really was so special what I did, I'm still glad that someone took the time to say something nice and answer, thanks for telling me that. It makes me feel good. Or thank you for noticing and telling me. This seems to me the best option. The other person also feels good. Everyone wins. Yeah, accept the compliments, man. You know, like what are we winning by not pretending not to like compliments or that we aren't doing good things for people? You know, especially today when I feel like everyone's aware of their shortcomings more than ever. Just especially if you're on social media and stuff, you know, it feels like everyone's always getting knocked for what they didn't do or didn't say or didn't articulate correctly. Like,
yeah, you be already in your own head about things.
Yeah. And when someone tell you did some good shit, some cool shit, take that shit. Hold that to your heart. He says, even though Diddy settled, I'm really concerned for Cassie's safety. If all things alleged in this lawsuit are true, she seems like a spiteful man. Yeah, I mean, I guess I mean, you always worry about everyone's safety, but I guess the way I would look at it is this. With the amount of noise and attention this is garnered, anything happens to Cassie, I don't care if she trips walking down the street. It's
gonna be breaking.
It's gonna be news, and it's gonna be aimed directly at him. So I don't, you know, I mean, it seemed like, and then also, of course, don't forget breaking NDAs. Like, it works 2 ways. The reason Donald Trump was able to like continue to get sued again, and same thing with Bill Cosby, is because they broke part of their agreements by saying shit like, I'm innocent, this bitch lying, blah, blah, blah. Next thing you know, you back in court and everything's available to the public again. So my guess is if he's as shrewd as people say he is, the shrewdest thing he could do is shut the fuck up and just don't talk about it. People will eventually move on from this and let it go, no matter how heinous you think it sounded, and matter how bad it is. It's not legal as far as like it's not criminal. And there's no trial, and there's no public, other than that public filing of that lawsuit, there's no public whatever, and people are afraid to talk about it because he's a mover and shaker. So I think he'll end up being just fine. He'll lose a few opportunities in some spaces for a little bit, but I think eventually those opportunities will either come back or be replaced. And because at the end of the day, we have a society full of bad, quote unquote, bad men that have done shit and we know about it and we just let them slide on it in general. I mean, I guess you could extend it to bad people because it just kind of depends on who the target is, but
agreed.
Whatever. The point being, we've been letting entertaining rich people slide on horrible rumor mill shit for a long time, and I think this will end up being treated like that. I'd love to be surprised, but I don't think I'll be surprised. Let's see, on our website, on YouTube, my mom says, "Why do you need white man's paperwork?" Yeah, Dr. Umar was in his bag on that one.
When he know?
Okay, he said something with that white man's paperwork.
He's serious too.
Why do you need white man paperwork?
Big fan of taking Dr. Umar out of context. In context, not so much. Anul, I think this is Anulio Colo, who says, "White people news. Hi, you write about white neighbors asking questions if they black. 1 month after moving into my house, my neighbor next door mentioned and met me at the mailbox that they looked up my hubby and I on LinkedIn, then asked if my hubby knew so-and-so. We were shocked, but not surprised."
That's why I'm not trying to find. That's why, because when you start looking for a job, everybody pushes to get on Indeed. And I can't speak for nobody else. I know there's people who have great experiences. To me, it's a fucking waste of time, because I was like, okay, all these, no. So I've never got on it. And that's probably one reason, because once you get on it, it's like the shit is just out there and people just searching and looking you up. They can do that anywhere anyway, don't get me wrong. But specifically for that, because a lot of times that shit is connected to your job.
That's so wild. They hit you with so we were doing some research. We look up your credit score and how could you afford this house?
Right.
Monkey Blood says, "Great episode." Thank you. Okay. You know who else did a great episode talking about Diddy and Cassie was The War Report. I was listening to them, Gaster and Shalewa, and they put it up on Thanksgiving, so you might not have heard it yet, but I say go listen to them. We love them, and they're so funny and so cool. And I thought it was so funny when Gaster was it was like Shalewa was helping talk Gaster through his hero turned out to be, this whack dude. And I was like, I can relate to that, because I feel like that happens sometimes where, with a lot of people that part isn't really discussed a lot. It's like we always supposed to go black or white, and we go immediately to like, we have to hate this person. But I love the reality of listening to Gaster be like, damn, I really looked up to this guy, and I didn't think he was a great person, but I just didn't know he was this fucked up. This is beyond even shit I had heard. And Shalewa kind of being like, yeah, but you kind of knew, and I loved it. All right. Then of course we have to look at Spotify for episode 2806. Diddy settles with Cassie, and let's see. Oh shit! I just realized I didn't do the poll for the first episode. Let me go back to the poll. I'm sorry. Let Karen cook. Are you going to see family for Thanksgiving? 58% yes, 41% no. And then on Spotify, let me check the poll for that episode. So sorry about that, everyone. Same, damn, 57-43. So basically same percentage going to see family for Thanksgiving. Okay, now we can get to episode 2806. The poll was, will you listen to the Amy and TJ podcast? Of course, that's Amy and TJ from Good Morning America. Karen, are you planning on listening?
Because they're not going to give me what I want to hear, so I'm good.
Okay, well, you know what? About 10% of the audience says yes, 90% says no on both polls. So, unfortunate for them. Yeah. A lot of us won't be listening.
They're going to talk about everything but what people want to
listen. I feel like they're going to wink at some things. I think they're going to wink. Like they're going to be doing those daily studies and all that, the fodder for the daily news stuff. And it'll be like, the FDA is recommending Americans drink their coffee black. And she's like, I like mine black. He's like, I like giving it to you this morning when I made some coffee for you. But I did put a little cream in yours. You know what I mean? Anyway, Shouty Nut said for the Q&A, believe in yourself like the couple who squatted in a mansion and put up Christmas lights.
Come on,
Shouty years. Shouty says, and will. Aaron says, thank you for the inspiration. Katie says, "Yep, I knew you were a candle burning bitch, which is why I sent a little something to you since Karen got the books. I love those lighters. Yes. And I do. I'm burning one right now. Cherry Christmas Cola. I don't know if this is the one from last week, but as y'all can see, it's like a third of the way down. That's how I'll be burning up in here. Raphael says, I thought the ep would end on the bright side, then Ultimate Store. Ratcheting this back to my monitoring that 2.5 million townhouse that has been vacant since the pandemic. Play is God's plans. I got the lights ready. Good luck.
Good luck.
Make them African color Christmas lights. Do it different. Alumni says, just
Be
like
yourself.
Alumni says, just like it was National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Yeah. I mean, Lisa says, God, I'm getting old. All I could think was, shit, they put up all those lights with no home insurance, right?
Gonna burn that bitch down.
Blair says, quick question. Did Wendy's get rid of the vanilla frosty? I don't know, but isn't it about time?
I like the vanilla frosty. Like,
of course you would, you bed wench. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, because
you like the vanilla swirl. Well. Finding out a lot of interesting things on this podcast.
I guess you are.
Okay. Tell everybody how much you like the white man's cream, Karen. Go ahead.
It's cream and his sugar.
Hold on, I got a Ku Klux Klan member on my page. Let me block this Ku Klux Klan member. Nobody's scared of y'all no more. Fuck out of here.
Go ahead, Karen. Tell everybody.
I'm going to let you slide on that coon comment. Next comment, you get blocked. Sent into eternity.
Tell everybody how you love the vanilla frosty, Karen. Go ahead.
What I was going to say is that Wendy only had the chocolate frosty for a long time. And then they put the vanilla in. And the vanilla, they kind of go in and out. It's not something they do permanently. And they've also had strawberry at some period of time. They also did pumpkin spice. Like I said, I like the Wendy's Frosties, you can tell, because I've gone through all flavors. And so periodically, I don't know if it's Wendy's or if it's the people with the machines just get lazy. They'll be like, fuck it, we ain't doing chocolate and vanilla. It's just straight chocolate today. And they'll be like, ain't no vanilla.
I do like the strawberry frosty. That was good. And of course the pumpkin spice was crack too.
Strawberry is for a limited time. Normally comes out around springtime.
So, I guess I had to say it about myself too.
Coons will be coons. What do you want me to say?
See?
I like it too.
You over here. Throwing a Clorox paper my way. Put some of that on you, buddy.
Clorox paper? Wait, what? What does that mean?
I meant Xerox paper.
Xerox paper. Okay.
I said Clorox.
I'm moving on because I don't think I still get it. But
because Xerox paper is white paper.
Oh, okay.
You're making white people jokes. So
all paper is white.
Yes,
it, for the most part.
Correct, and that that was kind of the joke.
Okay, all right.
Some of y'all Negroes are sick.
Miss Barnes says,
I had to explain my joke, y'all. I'm sorry.
That was some level. Listen, I'm trying to let you cook. I'm not gonna ever pretend I know when I don't know. I want to get the joke too.
Thank you.
Miss Barnes says there was some level 5,000 audacity on display, just like those Christmas decorations. Yeah, I want to see that. Who's paying the electric bill? Are they paying that?
Who is paying the bill?
I mean, I guess if you ain't got to pay mortgage, you probably got shit. Like, you know what? Okay. Turn the AC down to 43. Fuck it.
And them bitches is getting paid because you sure ain't putting $6,000 a month in the mortgage.
All right. That's everything for that episode. Last episode of the week was lonely, angry, and sad. We got a lot of comments on this one. 9 comments. So the first one is from It's Me. As far as why people are going to the movies less, money is a factor. Ticket prices are twice as much as they used to be, and there are no kids prices anymore, at least by me. I wanted to see Marvels, as I usually see all comic book movies, for a Sunday matinee, but there were no matinee prices. So yes, I have all the strings. I will wait because life is life. And as I type this, you just mentioned this. That's right, It's Me. That's how good we are. If you start typing to write something and you haven't finished listening to the episode,
give it a few minutes.
We probably covered it. Because as I was reading the comment, I was like, didn't we say this? And it was like, by the end, it's like, oh yeah, you did. You saying this right now? I'm like, oh, you start typing right away.
I got something to say.
Appia writes in, update on my new potential friend for those who support me on my journey. What is
Got
happening?
support.
What is happening?
A support group.
She accepted my LinkedIn contact and wrote me, "So cool that you found me." Oh, okay. So this ain't like that neighbor situation. Somebody was writing in about on YouTube.
I'm glad. Thank you. I'm so glad Dick turned left.
And I said, I listen, and now we can communicate without getting in trouble with Marlon, the yoga teacher. Oh, okay. Well, good luck. This seems very cool from this point.
Yes.
You know, I hope it works out.
Me too.
I
wish you well.
I'm sorry. I know this hasn't happened, but in my mind, I just fast forwarded like a month from now, and I wrote an Appia email in my brain, my head canon of her doing some like real fucked up racist shit.
Oh no.
And then try to get us to help. Like, oh no, right, Karen, I put my hands through her hair because it looks so fluffy. And I just wanted to
never do that.
I just wanted to know how it felt. What? She stopped talking to me. What can I do?
She definitely will stop talking to you, baby.
Oh man, I know you wouldn't do that, but it's still funny to me. I make jokes, okay? Oh man. Oh right, I told her she was pretty for a black girl. Is this wrong to say?
Pretty for colored.
Avia says, I only go to the movies when I'm on vacation. I see one movie a year in the movie theater. For me, it's just a time issue. I don't have 4 hours to spend even in the weekend. I have an extremely busy life, but no one needs to feel sad for me because it's what I chose. And I have a lot of great stuff in my life: love and family, career, music, money, exercise, and even a dog. So that's just fair. I've seen Barbie this year in the movie theater, and that's it. By the way, we have a projector at home, only no classic TV device. And so watching the movie here is pretty sweet. Sofa King says, I've seen exactly 2 movies in the theater since COVID came out, Wakanda Forever and The Marvels. And if you ask me when the next movie is I'm going to see in the theater, I ain't got nothing for you. Yeah, man, I'm telling you, dog, a lot of this stuff, people are going to lay it at the feet of just, it's a Marvel thing. Mm-hmm. And I just feel like, you know, it's a little bit deeper than that. That's not saying people can't be, you know, like over Marvel and stuff. You know, I think that's totally fine. I've been predicting this for years. I've been saying, like, as a comic book reader who was a nerd and grew up loving all this stuff, it expands and it expands and it expands, and it gets to a point. This is the job of the material, by the way. It's not the job of Marvel is not to try to make. It's not like what Pixar used to try to do, where it's like, we're gonna make one good movie a year. It's like, no, we're trying to get you to be totally captured. Yeah, totally invested in this entire like ecosystem, and you know, hopefully one day even get you to go read comics and stuff. Like, this is an ecosystem, and I get that people are, you know, need to get out, you know, like
it becomes work.
Yeah, because a lot of them don't have the same stomach for it as me. They don't have the same.
They didn't grow up with it.
Yeah, that, you know, they kind of soft, you know, no offense, but you know, they can't handle what I can handle with this material. And they're tired of like thinking so hard and all this shit. You know, it's just like, I just want to go see a movie about people that work at Amazon or something. But what's happening is that the Marvel stuff is tentpole, meaning they're cultural events to a certain extent. They're the references that people know even if they don't see the movies. And when something gets that big, people have FOMO and they want to blame the company instead of blaming themselves because they don't have the willpower to be like, I'm just going to sit out. I don't need to know everything about this. And I'm going to go watch the stuff that I claim to want to see.
Right.
But yeah, so I think also the investment in this like culture war shit, everything's political now. So you can't have like the press run for other people's movies are about Marvel now.
Yes.
Like Martin Scorsese's making a movie and he's talking shit about Marvel.
Which has nothing to do with each other. The fuck is this?
That's where we're at now, to where they're that big of an institution. And so, you know, people kind of like how people turn on the Patriots and try to tell you they're not good and they never been good. And I'm one of the people that's like, no, Tom Brady's fucking Tom Brady.
Right.
So
what are we talking about here with this
at some point,
history?
Yeah, at some point we got to just give them credit. They were better than everybody else.
Right.
And now there's people who are like, Bill Belichick can't coach because he don't got Tom Brady and they're not doing good the last 2 years. And so it's turning into Bill Belichick was never a good coach. that's kind of what I see happening with the Marvel shit. It's like they're just trying to turn into like, this shit was always whack. No one liked it. And it's like, okay, we don't want this anymore. Well, let's look at the box office. For the most part, the movies that will be in the top whatever are probably going to still end up being comic book movies, action sequels, and shit like that. You know?
Yeah. And also I don't know how to make this sound nice. It's one of those things where you're not fatigued. And the reason why I say you're not fatigued is because I guess I'm built differently. If I don't like something and I don't fuck with something, I don't consume it, I don't watch it, I don't talk about it. In my mind, it just does not exist. I go, oh, that's nice, and I'll keep it moving. But I realize a lot of people don't function like that. They say they're fatigued, but you still go watch it. You say you're fatigued, but you still complain about it. You say you're fatigued. Well, are you fatigued or not? Because for somebody that's highly fatigued, you sure keeping up a lot with the shit for somebody that's fatigued.
Think about it like this too, right? If we look at superhero fatigue, and that's what we want to say this is. Of the top, I'm looking at a list of the top 100 movies of the year, and the first comic book movie, Guardians of the Galaxy, is number 4. And if you say, well, Guardians of the Galaxy was good, but the rest of this is shit. Well, they made Guardians of the Galaxy. They get credit for that. So you weren't fatigued for the third iteration of these characters. So it doesn't sound like it's really fatigue at all, as that's the 4th or 5th grossing movie. And keep in mind, it's not a $1 billion movie. That used to be a thing. There's only $2 billion movies this year. Like, this is just, the box office is down, but people don't, like I said, most people aren't smart enough to connect all the dots. So that's why y'all listen to us, because most people are going to give you a hack take about, oh, the Marvel, it's just, we're tired of seeing Marvel. It's like, no, you're not, no offense, but you're not smart enough to understand what's happening here, and that's okay.
And also it's one of those things, and I will plant my flag and I will stand tall. The fatigue, particularly for Marvel, didn't start coming out until they start doing the others, and I will forever stand by that. Forever. Yeah. It didn't get loud until it started talking about everybody else other than straight white men.
Yeah, if you keep going down, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, that's number 6. Mission Impossible is number 10, and it only made $566 million. That ain't shit for Tom Cruise. That's bad. That is down. But we're not talking about Mission Impossible like that because we don't have an agenda against them. Ant-Man was number 14. John Wick was 16. Like, this, it's just not been a good year at the box office, but we're going to keep talking about this shit.
Yeah, and it was a whole ass strike, and people try to gloss over that shit too, where,
yeah.
Depending on what the movie is or when it came out, you couldn't talk about it. You couldn't.
Well, some of these came out way before the strike, and I'm talking about how they didn't make that much money. John Wick is 16. That's before the strike. Transformers Rise of the Beast, 15. Yeah, The Flash is 24. Yeah, this is like, it's not a good year. Dungeons and Dragons only made $200 million, and they're thinking of giving it a sequel. That should tell you a lot about expectations, because that movie supposedly lost money. It is what it is. Anyway, I'm not going to run through all of it. The Marvels is 36, by the way, which means it'll probably end up higher on this list by the end of the year.
All right.
But anyway, back to the comments, though. Like you said, people ain't going to movies. Angela says, awesome episode. I noticed the deluge of anti-Marvel, the movie and the company videos. You're right that people are skipping over logic, critical thinking, and assessment of what's happening in the industry. It reminds me of the high school cliques ganging up on certain folks so they can feel important and have a sense of community. The entire podcast episode made sense, and it's all related. Yeah, listen, man. I feel like we stumbled onto something a little deeper than the vast majority of people talking about this shit. And also, like, I think you could literally go through each year of the Marvel, building, and you're gonna find some stinkers in almost every single year. And for some reason, we have just not counted those until like near the end of the run is now, now the closer we get to where we are now, the more we're like, they had a stinker. It's like they had a stinker in Captain America. And they had a stinker in the first couple of Thor movies for people. Yes, like they did. And I don't mean stinker in like they were getting terrible ratings. I just mean like the general consensus was like, it was all right. It wasn't a like, God damn. It was, Avengers was, to me, it was Iron Man. And then it wasn't until like maybe Avengers that we had our first like, okay, they got something.
Right.
Like it was like it was cool, I guess. And then it was, oh, wait a minute. Hold up, And even with Avengers, like I said, there's some after that was like, people didn't like Avengers too. I liked it.
I did
too. People did not like Age of Ultron. There was a lot of divided nerd like shit over that. Anyway, revisionist history. I just unfollowed a certain Twitter account. I won't say their name just because I don't feel like going through no shit, but y'all can see it on the website. I just unfollowed a person on Twitter because I think it's a she made an Insta screed announcing that she wasn't going to fight with anyone about her not voting for Genocide Joe. I need to maintain my peace of mind. When I read the post, I wondered why she had to share that unless she truly was looking for a fight. Exactly.
Yeah, because you don't have to let us know.
Exactly.
You don't have to let us know and not trying to find it. The way I feel about that, the same way I feel like a Marvel fatigue. You ain't got to let us know. You can leave Craig. You can leave Craig. You get your ass.
No one's holding you here.
Why are you here? Why?
No one's holding you here.
You are not hostage. Tap out at any time.
I'm waiting for a person to say they have Marvel fatigue and be like, and I just haven't seen a Marvel movie in 2 years. I've never heard it. I don't think it's possible.
Right.
I have fatigue. Yeah, I'll be there for the next 3. Her post seemed like a virtue signal, excuse my GOP moment. And I just can't believe that Black people have become single issue voters over Palestine. What Israel is doing is genocide and horrific, but how could they think Trump or any other those horrible Republicans do or try to do the right thing when it comes to Palestine or look out for her interests as a Black woman? Honestly, I've never heard any of them explain that part, and I just think it's an extremely emotional response. I don't think it's necessarily built on like a type of logic. It's I'm upset, I am protesting, and part of my protest is that I refuse to vote. If that's what they want, so be it. If I'll say it every time, if that's the country we get, that's the country we deserve. If enough people do that, but I do feel that they try to have it both ways because then they'll rant like this and try to influence people. But then at the same time, if you go, then they'll be like, and no one ever better say this is Black people's fault. Nobody ever better say that Black people affected this election in any way. So it's like a weird thing because, especially as Black women, when Democrats win, we typically, and I think should, give Black women a lot of the credit as the most loyal voter base of the Democratic Party. Any Democratic win in America is pretty much for and by Black women, and I don't think they're doing it to save us. I mean, for as in, I believe the policies and conditions that are determined by this election will benefit me as a Black woman if it's a Democrat voter.
Right.
Most pragmatic, enthusiastic voter base, period.
And it's also one of those things where, not trying to be funny, particularly for Black women, when it comes to like just the structure of like just households and shit like that, a lot of times the Black woman is the person that actually keeps a lot of shit functioning. Not that men don't, but they actually keep a lot of shit functioning, keep a lot of shit running. Yeah. And they have to consider everybody else. I have to think about my son, I have to think about my daughter, I have to think about my husband, I have to think about the future. And because we do that, a lot of times other groups, even other groups in Blackness, have a tendency to take that shit for granted. Have a tendency to think, well, y'all gonna always do it. We don't have to consider you. We just gonna go consider us. We don't have to consider the totality, the community. We don't have to do that. This hurt my feelings so I can cry versus actually really understanding that this shit impacts the whole community.
And in this case, we're talking about a Black woman who's putting out this I'm not gonna vote thing. And I think, honestly, that person's an outlier. And it's not hard to know that people like that want and covet attention online. Look at the person you mentioned is a person I muted a long time ago because I saw how much of what they do is just about grievance and trying to start grievance and trying to start shit with people. I remember one time I someone said, what show didn't get another season that you would have liked to see? And I said, Lovecraft Country.
Mm-hmm.
And this person that you're talking about quote tweeted me and tried to act like I was saying anything negative about the show was like okay, basically. Like, even though we did a podcast recap of this show, a show by a Black woman, Black showrunner, and we did this recap of Lovecraft Country, and people loved our episodes, but we never shied away from like, I think this decision was like, especially the decision to kill the trans character, I thought was just, short. It just was a bad moment. But the director and everybody came out and said, we fucked up, and we hear that, and we wouldn't. And so I'm like, I don't understand why a Black person fucking up, a Black woman specifically fucking up, doesn't ever get a second chance. It's still a story and it's still a character. No one's really harmed in the story. If there's a chance to make it right, to do better, they deserve that same chance that we give every other fucking creator. Whoever fucked up gets another chance, except us, right? And so, but this person I saw was just trying to use me for a viral moment to get content off, which is, some whack shit to me, especially if we follow each other and all that stuff. And I just typically don't do that to people. Like that I follow that. Like, why would I use my friend to be like, I'm gonna go viral off of you, and by completely trying to take you out of context? So for me, it let me know like, oh, that's what she's on. She's on, I need some attention. I need to go viral. I need to get the grievance going. And if it's you today, it's just on you. And I don't want a conversation. I don't actually want to discuss it. I want to make a whole different rant on my own that doesn't even acknowledge your humanity or what you could have possibly been meaning. And I think that person is hyper online. So of course, if you're hyper online, you're going to say something like that, bombastic, because you want the attention.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure there are other people that I feel like the people that truly feel like that are not even, they don't even have to tell you. Like, because it's like, it ain't really got shit to do with you on Twitter. It really don't. I've decided I'm not doing this thing, and it really is not your fucking business what I do in my voting. But I feel like, they got to tell you because they want the engagement.
Of course.
Perhaps she is getting her content fixed while also depending on the rest of us to do the right thing and vote for Joe so she can sit back and complain loudly about how horrible and evil he is. Yeah, I think also she lives in one of the states that she knows is blue. So, it's, this is one of the things you have to realize about Twitter. It's so many different types of Black folks. I said this when I went to New York. I would talk to people at Game Theory, and, their version of like liberal values is different than it is down here in the South. Their version of liberal values is very much like hands off, and I don't like, it's not the perfect choice, fuck it, who cares? And that's why Mayor Adams is running their city.
Yes,
because they don't actually, for the most part, go out and vote, and they don't vote in their primaries. Turn out extremely low. The idea being we're gonna mostly be blue anyway. I think we'll be okay. So if I don't get exactly what I want, fuck it. I'll just sit back and complain about, you can go all the way, Rudy Giuliani, Ed Koch, like all these mayors that they say they hate, that are low-key, to me, very conservatives, while saying they're a Democrat, but they get to run shit because they, for the most part, feel safe, regardless of how they may voice it online and shit. The numbers of the people that come out to vote say we mostly are okay with this bullshit.
And if they wouldn't, they would be different.
And you wouldn't think of a city as blue as New York as having a reputation. Like, the reputation of New York versus being in New York is different. Like, it's just people are okay in a different way, and it's just, if they're, what revolution looks like to them is more of a I don't know, like maybe go out to the protest, but don't go out to the polls. And to me, it's just different in the South because the fight here has been like to vote for Black people, literally dying to vote. The fight has been making sure our votes get counted down here, not a, like we're waiting for the perfect candidate. It's you push who you have as far as you can. And I just wanted to be understood, because what'll happen is people once again will put words in the mouth that we didn't say. I don't think it's wrong to be critical of Joe Biden and the administration and the choices that are being made or not made with Israel. I don't think any of that's wrong, because that's the big thing people try to say is like, so you want me to vote, but I can't complain? Complain.
And
Complain.
Can't you do both?
Complain.
Why not do both?
Like, I've seen this administration respond to complaints in a way I haven't seen other administrations do. So there's been things people complained about that were not on their fucking docket of things to do, such as your student loan stuff. That's a thing he was pushed into because people were like, nah, fuck that. I want my student loans and you ain't doing enough. And I know he's gonna get knocked for it because he's not, it's Twitter and he's not saying what people on Twitter are saying, but he has behind the scenes negotiated this ceasefire and been cautioning against like the ground invasion, all this stuff. The only thing they haven't done is essentially cut off all the weapons over there. And I honestly, truly do not have all the
intel.
Not intel, but I don't have all the knowledge about the history of that region and America's allyship with them. I have friends who know more than me, and I talk to them about it through text and stuff. And whether it's like an oil situation or what, but apparently we are never going to abandon Israel as far as allies. And so, this cautioning might end up being the most that a president's ever going to do over there in a situation like this. But I agree with everything you said. I just, like I said, I think that going on Twitter to be like Genocide Joe and shit is just saying something reactionary to get the clicks and stuff. Because at the end of the day, you're right. The only people that will be aided by that is when the GOP people get in charge. And honestly, I don't want to hear the shit then.
Nope. And so I will say it again. I've said it before. You can do both. You can vote somebody in office, because once you vote them in office, then you can hold them accountable for things. You can't hold somebody accountable for some shit that you didn't put in on. Yeah. You don't want to invest, but yet you want to complain. I don't want to hear anything you have to say because you didn't want to participate in the system. And when you don't want to participate in the system, whatever the system gives you, you just got to live with then.
Yeah. So yeah, and I feel like it always lets Republicans out the hook because it's their version of reality is one where the people complaining it's a version of reality where somehow magically we're better off with Republicans in power, or we just shouldn't care that they're going to be in power. And I think we absolutely should, because regardless of how you feel about Israel, Palestine, that is only one thing happening in a world of things happening.
Yes, sir.
So, it's still, I'm not a one issue voter, and I don't know that there's one thing that can be done that would just make me be like, I'm opting out of voting and just good luck with Republicans in charge. Regarding the movies, we go every other week because our eldest son lives with autism and that's his favorite thing. We go masked up and don't bring in snacks the way we used to because of COVID. If we didn't have to take these movie trips, we would definitely not go as often. I'll be hitting the Renaissance movie and The Color Purple. Love you guys. Sakura says, hi, it's Ro. I left 2 voicemails and just wanted to clarify I was referring to this episode. Thank you both. Okay, cool. We'll get, that's a little teaser.
Thank you.
EVE says, I went to see the Marvels in the theater because it looked like a fun movie, and it was. I enjoyed it. This movie didn't get, that's another thing that's killing me with the Marvel fatigue niggas, are them being like, well, I saw the Marvels and it actually was good. Okay, so then what's the problem again?
Right.
Because didn't you say you just want them to make good, fun movies? And if you're counting this as one of the good ones, if you think it was all right, okay, whatever, then that's what the fuck you wanted. Why are you so concerned about the box office at that point? It's so weird. It's such a weird obsession. Make sense. And mostly I think I'm bothered by it because it's hack.
Right.
Like if I hadn't seen 17 million dude bros make the argument, I think maybe I'd be a little more like, okay, yeah, maybe. But I'm just like, fuck them, fuck you, just don't see it.
Valid point, Roger. I really do think that's where their fatigue. This is where my fatigue against them comes.
Yeah,
because I'm like, shut the fuck up. Nobody cares. Don't watch the shit. Just cancel your Disney Plus and go on about your motherfucking business.
I have Marvel fatigue. Like I got Marvel fatigue. Like just okay, cool, cool story, bro. You're special. You're the one person that Don't go see him. I'm fine.
Right.
I don't need your review on it. It'll be okay.
Nope. And I do think that the fatigue from the dude bros, it just radiates into everything else.
This movie didn't get promoted as much as a typical Marvel movie because of the strike, and people didn't seem to get that. I think Marvel will be just fine, especially if they do a good job with Fantastic Four movie. They really can't do worse than the one with Michael B. Jordan. That movie was complete ass. Also, the X-Men movie will generate buzz as well. That's another reason. I just remember, you heard it here first. Stick it in your pipe, stick it in your hat, put it in your pocket, pull it back out. When they go on another run, which they are,
because that's how
I'm gonna be talking shit. I just want people to know I'm gonna be talking shit when they go on another run, because it's so predictable. It's stupid at this point. It's so predictable. Like they've been fighting this whole time without their big and little jokers of the X-Men and Fantastic Four.
Mm-hmm.
Those are layup movies for them. So I just think it'll be interesting. Because I think they'll go on a run before the industry goes on a run.
Yes, they will.
Like they'll be the ones to be successful at the box office again before just the general movie going public comes back to movies. And I think that's funny. But I would be very worried, and am very worried about the general box office, just because I don't see that coming back unless companies really, really crack down on their own streaming. And like, you need basically 4 or 5 different companies to be like, we do not need a streaming platform.
Yeah, they'll never do it, but some of these companies need to, like you say, not trying to be funny, be like, we need to stop doing this, put it on Netflix, and call it a motherfucking day.
Yeah, if you care about box office and you're Paramount Plus, Peacock, all these, whatever people have apps, HBO Max and shit, they all need to basically be like, listen, we're done with that. You want to see our shit, go to a movie theater or watch, HBO, the TV channel. And we're done with the trying to get y'all to stream the shit. Or we need to put like a 6-month moratorium on all movies that go to theaters and be like, if you want to see the shit, go to the theater. That might help a little bit, but yeah, I think people have found out it'll be all right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like we talked about before, when that window is like 60 to 30 to 90 days, that makes a difference.
Sandler Agnew writes saying this is a long one. Hey, Rod and Karen, in my situation, being single does work out, but as of late, I have been making some choices that probably are for the best, that I just wait until my money situation is better. And relating to the overall narrative of the Marvels, it was so over the top ridiculous. There are some publications and critics you just can't rely on anymore. They'll justify under, but we need the outrage for clicks. And my retort is, have you tried not being so racially insensitive to one Nia DaCosta? Film was agendaed from the big start and couldn't get away from all the people flat out dogging it before it came out. Long story short, I liked it. I wrote a long thing for spoiler movie review, so I won't retread on territory. Yeah, I think also, like you said, the clicks, and I'm surprised how few people have understood that part. Like, people will be like, oh, people hate the Marvels. And I'm like, do people hate the Marvels, or do you go to YouTube and there's a bunch of dudes making YouTube face with a picture of Brie Larson in the background, and underneath the title is like, Brie Larson hard to work with, Marvel's flops. And you're like, right, even they're in the ecosystem of using you. Like you don't got Marvel, you don't got people that shit on Marvel fatigue, you just got Marvel fatigue. Got it. Everyone wants a piece of the pie. It doesn't help that Variety and other dailies ask Ridley Scott and Christopher Nolan of the world the same annoying question about comic book movies, which have existed for basically 30 years. Well, they need the clicks too. People ain't clicking on them other articles for them.
No, they not.
Y'all did get me thinking about loneliness, which I'm absolutely no stranger to. I desperately want something bigger, something better, something more in my life than what I currently have. I had a friend that I befriended on Snapchat in 2017, and I thought we really hit it off. And then over time, we just ended up parting ways, because I started to notice how too online I was. I got rid of Snapchat and a couple of porno Twitter inspired apps. Porno Twitter? What is porno Twitter exactly? And how do I get there? Is it just following Miss B Nasty? Is that the whole point?
I said, it's this whole nother ecosystem.
At a point, it just became harder to unsee that a lot of this started to feel like I was chasing something totally unrealistic. I needed to find purpose. Something better than being an avatar on the internet. Now that I don't show my face, this shit is just a lot of sadness. A lot of movie talk on the internet is just a bevy of sadness filled with people talking about the old days and lack of originality. Then again, you can use that without just about anything. Oh, with just about anything. And over time, you begin to realize that that's the internet talking. Kevin Smith and Ben Affleck were right 22 years later. No wonder those dudes aren't on those platforms as much, Smith, or not at all, Affleck. It exploits depression and joy. I agree. I agree.
Yeah, and not all, but you have a certain certain types of celebrities, once they realized what it was, and for some of them, not trying to start fucking with their psyche and shit, they just literally just tapped out. They were like, oh, no, I can't do this. They let other people, if they handle an account, it is strictly somebody's job to monitor and push and promote their shit. Other than that, they're like, I'm good, y'all got it, because y'all gonna talk shit about me regardless, and I have no control over what you do.
As for movies in 2024, I don't know if I'll go to as many films in theaters because I want something different, something better. Certainly need a flexible job, something I've waited for a very long time, and do other shit. I want to go to more comedy shows. I mean, I met Chris Lambert for the first time. Dude was so dope and kind with his time. We talked about films. This internet shit can be good, but it's so rare that people in unison can turn off the cynicism from all sides, because that anger is like Kylo Ren holding on to Darth Vader's legacy. It kills the soul.
Yes, it does, if you allow it to.
Glad you both talked about this, because even I have actually grown weary of these conversations. Yeah, it's honestly, man, like, I love being a movie critic in that, you know, I want my voice heard, blah, blah, blah. But if y'all notice, I don't have discussions about movies very much with anybody. Whether it's on Twitter, even on the podcast, we'll occasionally have people that, if we have guests that cover movies, we'll talk to them about movies. But in general, I don't want to talk to you about movies because it's so fucking negative. Okay, you don't like everything. Have you ever thought maybe you're depressed? You know what I mean? Like, have you ever thought about maybe like therapy or some shit? Like,
right.
We shouldn't be rising or dying with fucking feature films like this. There's a level of self we have to be committed to that shouldn't be about the general tenor of a studio or not. You know, if I'm not entertained, I'm out, and that should be okay for everybody. And no one's holding you here. There's no imaginary person in the room making you see these films. Just don't see them. Just don't watch. Don't worry about the conversation. But I don't think people can help themselves.
I've realized that too. It's a form of an addiction, because, like I said, I function very, very differently. If I don't fuck with it and I don't like it, it just do not exist in my world.
And I don't even know that we function differently. Because I truly feel like that's most people. I really just think it's the language of social media is one of discontent, and you just,
yes, it is.
That is where discontent goes to commiserate. And you could go, I mean, we've seen it happen in ridiculous examples where a woman's like, you know, one thing I love about working from home is every morning we make coffee, and me and my husband go out in the front yard and look at the sun come up and hold hands in our garden. And people turn that into like, bitch, who the fuck you think you are? That's how like a depressed brain talks. That's how jealousy and envy talk. Regular people don't talk like that. If a friend called me and told me that was her morning, I'd be like, talking about y'all be having fun over there. You have a lovely morning every morning, Appia. And then I move on with my life.
Right.
I wouldn't be like, this bitch. Oh, like that's the language.
How dare you flaunt your happiness in front of me?
Right. Even the indie studios are adjusting. Just because Joaquin Phoenix and long ass Beau is afraid doesn't mean people will come. Matter of fact, as someone who just watched Napoleon, I wouldn't come for his boring ass performance, though Vanessa Kirby cooked, so not her fault. You just need something more. Take care, y'all, and hope you both had a great Thanksgiving. Thank you. Let's check the YouTube. For this one, we got no comments. There we go. We love that. Let's move out of there. And then we got the poll. Do you go to the movies as much as you used to before the pandemic? 33% yes, 66% no. And let's see. And that is 16% yes on Spotify, 84% no. Either way you take that is a huge amount of no. And that's bigger than Marvel fatigue. Stop being so myopic. Pay attention to the whole picture. and you'll see something's happening in our society that has changed tremendously, and we're acting like it didn't. We're acting like we're on cruise control when shit is cruising into the Titanic, into the iceberg. Although I guess, for the iceberg is a bad day too, right?
It is.
It's like, oh, fuck a ship.
The iceberg was minding his business in the sea.
The pandemic just sped things up was a Q&A. Raphael says, great episode. I'm thankful for you guys. Another proof of why you're the best in the world. The pandemic really sped things up. If I didn't have a kid, I would 100% be a full-on wolf. Glad I got pro help. Leash says, I wasn't a big movie goer before, just always broke or too busy. But this past year, I started going significantly more. Dave says, great episode, Rod and Karen. The pandemic definitely turned the world on its head with long-lasting repercussions to be felt for years to come. Fifi says, I'm lonely. I started bringing my laptop to cafes, etc. to work. I killed my Facebook and Instagram 4 years ago. That helps. I miss movies and yoga too. I hear you, Fifi. I hope you're able to get back out there and go to some movies, do some yoga, Ms. Barnes says, I used to love going to the movies pre-pandemic. Now, not so much. Excellent discussion as always. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'm telling you, man.
Some people, like, going to the movies was like their little outlet. They would budget their money up. They would save up. They were like, look, I know, I'm allotted X amount of monies. A lot of people joined those. Most of the main ones, AMC and the Regal and stuff had like those, and they still do have those services where you pay a flat fee. You can go so many times a month, and so many people will actually maxing that stuff out because that's like, it's cheap for me to just go ahead and give you $25 and see like umpteen movies than for me to actually pay out of pocket. And so a lot of people stop those services. Wouldn't be surprising if those companies lost money once the pandemic hit, because people probably started canceling them. They was like, I'm not going to the movies, and for some of them, they never came back.
Trey says, yes, it did. All I remember is hand sanitizer, mask, Trump's bad TED, and presidential speeches. Yikes. Yep. Pandemic sped shit up. All right. That's it for that, the comments and polls and all that stuff. Thank you, everybody. Let's go ahead and get into the next segment. Voicemail time. We got 5 people that called in. Let's see what they were saying. I think the first one's Emerald.
Okay.
Hi, Rod and Karen. This is Emerald. I've called a few times. So I'm calling for a little bit of help, only because I know you guys have given you've done like ads for Spotify for podcasters and that you use it. So I started recording. Unfortunately, I did it as voice notes on my phone. I don't know how to get it onto the Spotify platform, if that makes sense, or if I have to record it somewhere else and then transfer, if that makes sense. So I don't know if I have to email it to myself and then get it on my laptop, so logistics wise, if it's easy enough, and if you guys, in a feedback episode, can give a quick 1-2 on that, that'd be awesome. Because I already pre-recorded 3, what could be episodes. So I don't want to lose them because it was really good content. So yeah, that was kind of my help request. Very, very much lovingly, and I really appreciate any help you guys can give. Thank you.
Okay, well, first, Emerald, we don't record ours that way, so I've never tried that. I know they have a thing where you can upload audio directly to Spotify for podcasters. I would mostly suggest you ask to help people there, whether it's through email or just they have a little help pop-up thing where you gotta go through a bot and then eventually connects you to a person. I would try that. They've been very receptive on helping me when we've had questions or technical issues with the podcast. So I think you should probably try to resolve it that way. And I'm sure there's a bunch of ways to there's got to be a way to take a voice note, turn it to an MP3, and email it to yourself and then edit it on a thing and do it on a desktop. But once again, I haven't done that with Spotify, so I don't want to lead you wrong. Let the experts guide you. All right, next voicemail. Thank you, Emerald.
Hi, Rod and Karen. My name is Janine. I'm calling from Texas, long-time listener. Used to have that handle on Twitter, Scrum Master Flash, but I don't anymore because Twitter's dead. Anyway, listening to the feedback episode where you guys were talking about the feedback from Julie, and it reminded me of an episode of a different podcast from Larry Wilmore. I think that's his name. Anyway, where he was talking about being old enough to remember watching Nixon resign. And I'm just wondering if that boomer generation that lived through Nixon getting in the helicopter and just flying away in the middle of his administration sort of scarred them and prepared them for a Trump-like figure. And so that lessens their empathy around millennials having to have lived through Trump because we had Nixon and Kennedy and all of that. I don't know, just pontificating on that and just love the conversation around that. You guys are fantastic. I love everything that you do. Thank you so much for all the work that you do. But just throwing that into the conversation around what those older people have lived through and their lack of empathy because they literally watched a president get in a helicopter and fly away. So they were like, well, we don't care about this nigga. He's just stupid. Y'all survived it. We can all move on. Anyway, my 2 cents. Thanks so much. Love you guys. Love everything you do. Bye.
You know what's funny is I agree that hard part of having empathy for a lot of people is just the idea of I've been through some shit, and the older you are, the more shit you've been through. So once you go through some shit, you're like, what's the big deal? I've been through some shit, so that's part of it. But ironically, I would say Trump's worse than Nixon because like at least Nixon came through a time where Republicans would have voted to impeach.
Yes, they would have.
That's why he had to resign, quote unquote, because he was going to be out of office. Donald Trump doesn't have the shame to leave. He's actually trying to return, which is worse than Nixon. And Republicans don't have the fucking integrity to vote to impeach, regardless of the fact that this man tried to overthrow the government. So
they've had several times and voted no.
So I will say that even in that, I would feel like the kids today have just as much a case to say this is worse to us. But yeah, next voicemail.
Good morning, Rod and Karen. This is Miss Barnes. I am in the middle of listening to episode 2802, Keke Palmer, and your bantering. And Rod, you had the same experience that I had. Speaking of the 30th anniversary of Enter the Wu-Tang being released. So I had a tape player in my car back in the day, and I obviously didn't clean this thing enough because it would eat my tapes. And I'm in the middle of playing this album, and damn it, that my car didn't eat my tape. So I decided, let me go ahead and go, and I picked up the same thing at Walmart. I said, oh, they got Enter the 36 Chambers? I said, okay, cool, great. Let me grab it. So I played it, and there was no cuss words at all on it.
Woo,
I did not look to see if it had a parental advisory sticker on it.
If it had that E.
And so I am hearing shame on a nook.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what? Wait a minute, there's no cussing on here. I feel some sort of way.
They shouldn't be allowed to do that.
Keep the banner segment. I love it. But yeah, I'm a smidge triggered because I remember I wasted my money on that damn tape, which had no cussing on it. I hope both of you have a wonderful day and take care.
You too, sis.
Not but Wu-Tang. Like that's almost, how many words did they get out?
So long story short, one time my dad found the cussing version of some hip hop, some rap tapes, cassettes we had. And I don't know why he chose. I don't know if we were in trouble, grades or something, but for some reason we cleaned up the house that day, and then he played the cussing version of Wu-Tang so loud over everything. And he would just he would just my dad's very funny, but also when he's mad, like he's funny. And he just kept repeating, "It's woo motherfuckers. That's what y'all listen to. That's what you like. Woo motherfuckers." Over and over. So I'm kind of scarred and triggered by Wu-Tang with or without cussing.
Hilarious.
Next voicemail. Oh, and Miss Barnes, I emailed you. We had a listener who wanted to, because I said, you can sponsor a premium membership for somebody right now. It's Black Friday sale. Come get it. Come hook it up. And somebody was like, Miss Barnes, I want to hook you up. So I emailed you and just let me know your username on the site and I'll go ahead and put it all in. But they already paid for you to have a year of premium. So, come on back. All right, next voicemail. They left 3 of them. And I don't know who it's from. Okay, the first one seems blank. All right, so that's off to an auspicious start. Let's check the second one if it's longer than 5 seconds.
Hi, Rod and Karen. This is Jada. I'm just really identifying with the episode you guys had about loneliness. I work completely remote, and the company that I work for, they do have an office that's like 30 minutes from me, but it's not with like my direct coworkers. It's for a completely different business unit. But I currently am going through a breakup of person I lived with for almost 3 years, and it actually started around the pandemic. So I have been feeling a great deal of loneliness lately because I'm completely, alone, working, remotely, unless I'm in a meeting, not hearing another person's, voice. And so, and even before my breakup, I had been thinking a lot more about community because my grandmother passed, and we're from a small town, and it was really nice to hear all the, stories from everybody. And I just realized that, there is kind of something to it of you having that sense of community. I've been in Atlanta for over 10 years, and I've literally been in the same apartment complex, and I know none of my neighbors. And I live in such a big city with so many people, and somehow it still doesn't feel necessarily home. And now with my breakup, I have been even more kind of concerned about loneliness. So I am really working to be more cognizant about making myself go out. Just similar to you too, Karen. I before the pandemic, literally I was going to yoga so much, I bought a travel mat where when I traveled for work, I would find a yoga class to go to. And
Yes.
I don't know what happened.
Girl, I got blocks and
got in the
straps.
habitude of not doing it, or I don't even really do it in my house anymore. But
You got cut off, but you call right back.
So sorry, guys. This is Jada again. Being too long-winded, but I just wanted to end to say that I feel you, Karen, and that I'm also now going to try to be more cognizant about getting out there and just doing yoga, or just getting out there to get out of my apartment and doing things, because I'm not getting out of my apartment every day and going to work. But I am even thinking about, even though it's 30 minutes for me, and I don't have to, just going to the office just so I can be around the people. And I feel like you guys are making a good point. I really do. I enjoy being remote. There are some advantages to it, and also particularly that you don't have to move for a certain job anymore. You can maybe live in the location that you want to be, but and also I do love that for instance this week I was still working, but I was able to
Snap.
I was able to continue.
Sound like she's not alone anymore. We fixed the problem. Somebody else showed up.
Somebody else now.
To work, but be around my family as well. So, but yeah, I think you guys make a good point. There is kind of a lot of loneliness going on, and I don't really know exactly how to address it. But yeah, thank you. Bye.
Yeah.
Think about what you was some of the things we're talking about. A lot of people don't want to be truthful with themselves that they need people. And a lot of people use the excuse of, well, I'm an introvert. Introvert does not mean antisocial. It does not. And that's very, very hard for people to understand. It doesn't mean they don't want to be bothered with people. That don't mean they don't want to be around people. It's just when they're around people, they just for a lot of them, depending on the personality, they have a certain period of time, and then they're just tapped out of just people and energy and things like that. And that's fine. Versus extroverts, somebody like me, being around people gives me energy and keeps me going. It's kind of the opposite effect. And also, I think that people are not truthful with themselves. There are a lot of people that are working from home. They probably would be better mentally if they did a hybrid. If they was like, okay, I like being at home, but you know what? Let me do 2 or 3 days a week. And that's a very hard pill for some people to swallow, that they actually need people. And also talking about community, yeah, over the past, and I could speak for me, even as a child, our family and the unit of our family used to get up a lot more frequently. Like at my mama's house, that was the spot. And so every weekend, a lot of her brothers and sisters and nieces and nephews and stuff would pile around my mama's house. And everybody would cook. And they would come by, and it was like a big dinner. And so we would eat, we would play. And so a lot of my cousins and relatives, I got to know them really, really well because we literally grew up as children, because we were literally around each other for hours and hours and hours on end and things like that as kids. But I realized as time changed and as that generation got older, a lot of that was not kind of instilled in us. So for us, we're like, okay, that's cool, but I'm not doing that. And a lot of the traditions, and I know my family isn't the only one, a lot of those traditions are broken. A lot of family reunions aren't as big and things like that. Just over the years, it's just not the way it used to be. And like I've said before, and about Big Mama and about having a centralized person's house or spot, be it Big Mama, be it, Pop, whoever the person is, great uncle, whatever. And when that person passes, whatever, people just kind of gradually just float away from each other. And the only time you end up seeing each other is not so funny, on sad occasions. Somebody's sick, somebody's dead, somebody's dying, somebody's in hospice and things like that. And so that sense of community has kind of went away. For a lot of people, they have children who don't know their cousins and other relatives because we're so busy that whenever they do schedule family reunions, a lot of times we're so busy we don't take the time to go. We won't go. We won't, go to the events even if we have time, because everybody kind of want to do their own thing. And I completely understand that, because people are scattered across the country, financially, whatever it may be. But it does not erase the fact that you need community and you need people around you. And so I know one thing that I do like about the younger generation, younger than me, they're real big into chosen family. And to me, once I got older, I recognized what that is. You might be in the spot where, hey, my family might not be around me, but I have a community, because community matters. Be it your flesh and blood, or if something happens or it's schisms, whatever, you need community. You need people around you, somebody to talk to, somebody you can lean on, somebody you can depend on. Because for most people, they are not designed to be completely 100% alone. That's different between, hey, I live alone, I'm by myself. That's completely different than I have no communication with anybody of the outside world.
Yep, I agree. And I think little stuff helps. Just, sometimes it's just going out to a restaurant. Sometimes just finding that friend or somebody to have a lunch with. If it's something where you want to sit outside, that's cool. It's literally just, sometimes I'll just need to get out the house. Like I'll, come in and be like, I just got to get out of here, and hop in the car and go run some errands or something, just to like. And I'm a person that doesn't necessarily need to sit down and talk to a lot of people. I'm not like Karen said, I'm an introvert, not antisocial. So I don't need to be like at a party necessarily or a crowded restaurant, but I need to see people sometimes. And you get out the house and need to, do all that stuff. And I hope you make some adjustments. And I think the hardest part is even recognizing that it's an issue.
Mm-hmm.
And then going branching out from there.
Yeah, because and not to get on another tangent, but you know what online tells you? You don't need nobody else. You know what the internet tells you? You're fine literally by yourself, and you know what? Those people aren't fine. Like we talked about before, they're lonely, they're angry, they're sad, they're depressed because they need people.
Yep. We got one more voicemail. They left 2 of them, so they must have got cut off.
Hi, Rod and Karen. Thank you again for a wonderful week of shows, especially the last one on Thursday. I know you said it was sort of rambling and off topic, but I think it was perfect, especially for this time of year. Um, and to start with the Marvel box office segment that you were talking about, I totally agree that the overwhelming messaging for Marvel has been negative, and I've seen that happen a lot with the reactors and the sort of people who've made their social media brand talking about Marvel movies. They have to have a hook and something to bring people in, and for a long time, it was so positive that they had, in order to stand out, they had to be negative. They had to bring up every nitpick and things that didn't match, and now it's become their entire platform and personality in a way where I understand. I feel like I personally like Marvel because I don't watch and intake every form of media that they've come out with. I still haven't watched the Netflix series because I didn't have Netflix for a long time. So there's certain things like I get the overload, I get the things aren't connecting, but you don't have to watch every single piece of media unless that's what you make your living on. And so those voices are sort of becoming the overwhelming consensus about what's going on with the Marvel movies. And another component of you were talking about the box office not being able to match pre 2020 numbers is, not to be morbid, but there's less people around. There's going to be less people who can, show up and go to the movies. There's disabled people who can't do it anymore. There's children whose guardians aren't around anymore. Right. And that's going to impact how many people go. And I'll speak for myself. I used to always go to those movies. Those are my events for the year. I would sometimes see them once or twice. I saw Black.
Yeah, I cut off.
Oh no, sorry for a part two, but I was just saying I saw Black Panther 4 times in the theater because I was bringing other people to see it as well, and that's not going to happen here. There's so many people that I know that are just not into spending $20+ to see a movie when, like you said, they could be home. I have older relatives that I would not be taking to the movies because of, I'm usually the only one with the mask on in the entire theater. And I also try to schedule it not on the premiere dates because I don't want to be in a crowded theater. So many things have changed that they're not factoring into these box office numbers and only spotlighting certain box offices when it feeds into that go woke, go broke mentality that a lot of these journalists and reactors and people who make their living on these kind of movies are sort of plugged into at the moment. Yeah. And another thing that I just wanted to say very quickly is that the absence of kindness online is trickling into real life.
Yes.
In what you were saying about that loneliness turning into anger. So much of what I see online and that I scroll past that I don't want to interact with is just anger. To your point about, what's the best place to take people on dates, and these men aren't shit, these women aren't shit. There's always something to be angry about, and I don't know if I guess it feeds engagement. I guess that's why they're doing it, but it could just be because they're lonely and they're venting online and they're getting other people to commiserate about the same thing, versus focusing on positive things, which is very hard right now, when people are yelling at you for not constantly posting things that are, I want to say this, in the kindest way, but there's horrible things going on right now. But there are people who are just trying to get through the day. So for them to post that would have severe mental impacts for them. But they're getting told that they're worthless and that they're on the wrong side of history. And
she got cut off. She didn't call back. But yeah, I mean, you were spitting. I think one quick thing I want to add about the movies too. When a movie does do well, people politicize that. Like, I remember when Top Gun, the Maverick, came out and it was a hit, and it was getting a lot of credit. And somebody said, the Republican Fox News people were saying this because it's an old school movie about the planes and the military and all that, and then of course people that were more liberal were like, oh, it's because of the diverse cast of all these other pilots that are actors in this film. And it's just like, bruh, it's just a fucking movie.
That's all, just a movie.
People saw it for a bunch of reasons, but like everything's not politically explainable.
Mm-mm.
Like sometimes it's just like shit is a hit because people liked it, or shit is flopping because people's, like you said, behaviors changed and no one's seeing theaters. But it's funny how like it's always what you don't like is the reason the movie didn't do well and what you did like is why it did great, right?
Yeah, and also you brought up a good point because pre-pandemic, guess what? We had a billion extra people in the world. And now that I think the number's much bigger because we'll never know the true number of people that actually, died from COVID before we actually even knew what COVID was because of the administration at the time. So you're talking about
it's not a billion more people.
I mean, a million. I'm sorry.
It's like 3 million I just went and looked it up while you said it, just so no one will write it.
I said my bad.
It's okay. It's okay.
But that's a lot of people that are no longer here with us.
You're right.
Who actually, when these other movies came out, guess what they were? Consumers. Because people talk about
workers.
Yes, people talk about, like you say, can't find workers. People talk about tax revenue for states going down. People talk about all these other factors. But when you have that many people missing out of an economy that's built on capitalism, everybody's going to feel the impact of that for decades to come.
According to World Health Organization website, they have it at 6.9 million. Basically, 7 million people died during COVID around the globe. So that other number may have been just for America or something.
Oh, that's what I was thinking.
But what the point being like, a lot of people ain't here anymore, and also just people's behaviors change. Like I can't even imagine what the indoor event to bring everyone together like that again will be after Black Panther, other than maybe, these concerts like Renaissance and Taylor Swift. But I think those are outside events.
Most of them were. There were a few inside, but most of them were outside.
I think if they would have done them inside, it still would have been packed. So maybe something like that. But like that cultural community moment, that's not being brought because nothing's really a tentpole anymore right now.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe like residencies in Vegas. I know for Usher, that shit was.
But that's going
out.
To one place.
Yeah,
I think like Black Panther was in every place.
It was.
So if you were in Charlotte, you were dressing up. If you were in Milwaukee, you were dressing up.
Yeah, we were all.
I don't know that we're gonna have something like that again, and I think if we don't acknowledge that part of it, then we just look. I don't know. I don't want to say people are stupid, but I think you look stupid just saying it's a Marvel thing. Nah, it's a life thing.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, because it's something that you said is done in unison.
What you're really saying is I thought Marvel was life proof. That's what you're really saying is I thought what they did shouldn't even be affected by a pandemic or anything else. And if you thought that was you drinking that Kool-Aid, not me. All right, let's go to the final thing. We got some emails to talk about. All right, emails. And of course, as I say that, Firefox freezes. Son of a gun. Hold on. I got to figure a way out of this, guys. Give me a second. So I think I got to close it in one thing and open it in another program. Son of a bitch.
Okay, handle your business.
Why would you do this?
We be here.
It just betrayed me.
I know, right in front of the audience. You have people sitting here standing. And you want to act out ugly?
And then close it here.
Right in front of my friends.
And then open up the email here.
Okay, I moved over.
Okay, am I on screen yet?
No. Yeah, almost. No, we don't see your picture.
Huh.
We see your box.
All right, it said I was joining. Let me refresh. Been freezing lately.
No problem.
Okay, I should be back.
There you go. We see you now.
Let's get to these emails that we got from everybody. The first one's from C from Cleveland, I think. Yeah, C from Cleveland says, "Hi, Karen and Rod. This is C from Cleveland. I'm a long-time listener since 2013, but I'm very rarely email. I just want to say thank you so much for such poignant, insightful reviews and highlights of current events. I find myself clapping whenever you stress the importance of civic duty and responsibility for our more vulnerable peers. Thanksgiving gratitude for the blackout tips. Thank you for through your podcast. I am constantly challenged to see the world outside of my purview, which is wild to think of, especially because I'm currently run a think tank based on lived experiences of Black women. Your girl is thinking all the damn time. LOL. I write with gratitude today because 2 years ago I sent you an email that changed the trajectory of my work. Listening to Blackout Tips, I heard an ad for Anchor for Spotify, inspired me to put clips from my research Project Noir, into a podcast form using Anchor for Spotify. We are blessed to say that because of that research and our podcast clips, our local NPR affiliate created it into a full-scale skate podcast.
Go ahead.
Living for We this year. Thankful doesn't scratch the surface without your podcast. I don't think that would have been possible.
Oh,
man,
go ahead,
man. Listen,
yay!
And she included like pictures from their their get together for their podcast.
Oh,
so I don't know if this is like the announcement or whatever, but look at this. Look at all the people in the audience. Okay, serving Black women for Black women by Black women. We love to see it.
We love this.
Oh, that is so dope. That is so dope. And then she also wants a holiday card, so I'll put you in the holiday section. She says, my husband and I would love to be added to your holiday card list. Last month we got married, and we are thrilled to begin a new tradition, including holiday cards. We hope to send to y'all too. Yes, the blackouttips.com/about is our mailing address.
Yes, we love holiday cards, and particularly me. I love the holiday cards. I hope Roger glanced at me. I hold on to them cards like your great grandma. Do your baby ponytail when she cut it and put it in the Bible. Every single card that's been sent is here, and I got it.
Again, thank you both. You both have taught me to think critically about the world and see brightness in the dark spots. Taking a beat to breathe deeply, analyze, and then respond has honestly changed my life for the better. Keep going, y'all. See, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, listen, that's so true about that taking a beat, because it can change a lot of stuff. And and honestly, us always constantly reacting to things is just starting to feed into it feeds into some things where there are people who use that in bad ways, and because they know how people react. And it's amazing how you just take one more second, one level deeper of thought, and it's like, wait, this is what this is really about for me,
And also something else I would like to add on. One reason, and I don't know if it's just being down south or just the way I grew up, I feel like this. If I'm in a place of privilege, I try my best to consider people that are not in my situation, always, because I am of the mindset where I never know when somebody else might have to advocate on my behalf when I don't have. And a lot of people, they don't make that connection. They always think that they're always going to be the privileged one and the one always advocating. Nobody ever thinks, what if something happens and all of a sudden my status changed financially, my family situation changes, somebody dies? Nobody ever consider those things. They always think that they're always going to be the one with the microphone. One day you may not. Mm-hmm. So when I'm not on the microphone or not in a room, I want somebody else to be considering me, because I know for me, I grew up on free and reduced lunch. I got Pell Grants, so somebody was advocating for these services not to be cut and destroyed and sliced to motherfucking pieces where I can survive. So I always feel like you have to consistently be considered about people that are not in the room.
Crystal writes in, Marble Rant. Hello, Rod and Karen from the Sunshine State of Florida. I was listening to Rod mention about critics taking Marvel movies, and I was talking to my husband about it. I'm not a comic reader, but love watching reviews of the Marvel comics. I often love watching the films, then watching new rock stars and Screen Crush to see what I miss. I often will tell comic readers the movies are their own universe. They draw inspiration from the comics, but they're their own lore. People love to have revisionist history as if they absolutely love the early Marvel works. I did truly love them, but there were some misses that we only just got closure on. I never watched Iron Man 2 or 3. And all the Thor movies were boring until Ragnarok. Agreed. I love how, yeah, that was funny. Like, there's people, like, whenever I see somebody that doesn't like Ragnarok, I'll be like, hey, you like the first two?
Right.
Because we just built different. Something's wrong with you, and I'm right. I love how the recent projects were made those prior movies relevant. Yes, I was talking to somebody. When it comes out, y'all are here, but I was on 4 All Nerds recently, and we were talking about the Marvels and Loki. And one of the things I brought up was just the big joker that Marvel has or has had for years is this ability to retcon things that weren't good. So, like, I didn't think Thor 2 was good, but they did use Loki and parts of Ragnarok and to make me go back and go, well, yeah, those moments were very impactful for the character, and those moments happened, and I was just like, I don't care about this movie, so I didn't care about those moments. But in hindsight, yeah, that's a pretty epic moment to go back and think about how Thor lost his mom and, you know, that kind of stuff. But let's see. I love how the recent projects made the movies. Okay, they only just gave Scarlet Witch a bit of a backstory because I never quite understood why Wanda was called the Scarlet Witch or its relevance until WandaVision. I think that was the comic reader spoiling things as usual. But this email is about a video I recently watched that was saying how people's dissatisfaction with Marvel is possibly related to the number of YouTube videos that pick apart the stories months before its release with their predictions, and how this can tie into films and the number of leaks. And by the time you actually do see the film, you either have been spoiled or essentially so bombarded with information you've lost the excitement. Yeah, because you mentioned New Rockstars and stuff and Screen Crush. I will watch a video sometimes if I've watched a thing. Like, okay, I watched Loki, I want to see them talk about Loki.
Right. For that stuff, I'm going to consume it first. I'm not going to watch. I'm not going to watch.
I won't watch a trailer breakdown. I won't watch those videos where they're like 27 predictions about the Marvels, because I think, and this happened with Game of Thrones too, for the book readers, once you start having expectations that are not based on just like stuff that is implicitly in what you watched, you set yourself up to be disappointed. You know, so now you're mad Mephisto wasn't in season 1 of Loki, and you're just like, why was this a thing for you, and why are you mad about it? You shouldn't even be mad about this. The film can never match the level of anticipation these channels build and create with their constant content daily about projects years in advance. The film or shows can never match the expectations that have been built. It actually makes a lot of sense, and is a reason why I avoid the prediction videos. I avoid any discussion about films or shows until I've actually watched it. You sound just like us. I realize that's what made the earlier films more enjoyable. You could just organically watch and enjoy. You had your comic book readers who are never satisfied, but overall it wasn't as insane as it is now. There's literally nothing you can do that will make people satisfied. Loki is an amazing series, and I loved how they made Loki, who is a villain, such a relatable character that you root for and completely change his arc, which I do also understand is based on a new run of the comic. Don't want to name it because it's a spoiler. I mean, honestly, yeah, I hear what you're saying, but yeah, I don't think you have to be that worried about comic book spoilers versus movie spoilers.
Because a lot of times they tell 2 completely different stories.
Yeah, and even like knowing Wanda is a Scarlet Witch doesn't necessarily change much, because you know, like they knew that when they put that character in the movie, that everyone knows that name is the Scarlet Witch. So then I love when they play with that stuff, like when they're like, oh yeah, y'all know, but we're not gonna reveal it to you right away. We're going to show you later. Anyway, just wanted to point out, I definitely also agree about the conspiracy theory about someone trying to tank Disney with negative reviews. Some of these YouTube channels I don't even watch because I know it's just going to be everything wrong with Marvel video again. I do think New Rockstar is one of the few that's seemingly really good, non-biased, with a good mix of good and bad. Part of me does wonder if Disney feuds with DeSantis, no longer funding the Republican Party, is behind this. Also, Disney was supposed to relocate some of their California Imagineers to Florida and bring a couple $1 million in revenue. It was $1 billion campus. And after our governor's stunt, they scrapped it. It cost him a large amount of his base due to his loss of potential revenue and jobs it was going to bring. He, of course, has his diehard supporters, but there are some who, although are Republicans, see that his actions are negatively affecting the state and costing him money. I know the theory sounds insane, but stranger things have happened, LOL. Anyway, I know this was long, but I've been a Marvel fan from day one. Have watched Iron Man in theaters and remember the entire theater erupted in excitement when Sam Jackson appeared in the post-credit scene. Yeah, I was saying that for our nerds too. I don't like this thing where we're trying to take away what they have done to try to act like it's not a big feat. Like Ben Amin was saying, like, I read a book or some shit, and he was like, and they some of that stuff they kind of lucked into. And I'm like, they didn't luck into Sam Jackson saying we're doing the Avengers. And if they lucked into it, then they get the credits. Babe Ruth pointing his bat at a section of the outfield and going, I'm knocking the home run there, and then doing it. Well, if it's luck, fuck, that's the greatest luck I ever seen. Congratulations. So it does make me sad to hear people keep on, it's superhero fatigue. I think they think if they say it enough, then we will all believe it. No, it's a pandemic. Then writers and actors strike issues has affected so many projects for years to come. Let's not forget it took Infinity Saga almost 10 years to wrap up certain storylines and things to make sense, but we want immediate answers now. Give them a chance to work out the kinks. Okay, I'm done with my rant. I feel you. Here's the one thing I would add to. You ever notice that the motherfucking fatigue niggas always make a lot of content? Anybody ever notice that? Anybody ever know? You never see, if I hit them up and be like, I got fatigue of your ass. How about you make some videos about some different shit? How about you only put out 10 out of 10 quality videos or podcasts or whatever you do. If it ain't 10 out of 10 every time and you don't have something that no one's ever said before to say, I don't want to see it. They be like, man, suck my dick. I'm doing my job. Oh, man.
Yeah, and also the thing is, thinking about what they're saying. Yeah, over the years, you have, YouTube and all these other platforms that cover movies unlike before. You've always had people cover movies, but it was more of the traditional thing of movie critics. Right now with YouTube and stuff, it opened it wide open. So you have an influx of people who may or may not be actual historians in movie and all that stuff. A lot of it's fan base, a lot of it's I just like whatever it may be. You don't have the same levels of entry or whatever it takes like you used to have. So that makes a big difference. And also, I do 100% agree with you on, and I've always thought this was me personally, unless you're somebody that does not care about spoilers, and like I say, it depends on the situation. Most of the time I don't, but if it's something where particularly with Marvel, a lot of these fatigue niggas be spoiling shit for people too. That's what they don't talk about either. So a lot of times, if you really want to watch something Marvel related, a lot of times you have to watch it like immediately when it comes out, or else people that are quote unquote fatigued, these fatiguing ass niggas, be watching the shit and be spoiling it. Sometimes I think on purpose. And a lot of times for a lot of people, they consume so much of it, and so then they're full on it, and then it's like you eating your dessert before the meal, and then you go get the meal. You go, well, the meal wasn't as good. No, because you ate all the dessert first. And I think that's how a lot of people consume this stuff and then act like the meal is the problem and not the fact that you oversaturated yourself with it and then act like the product is the problem.
Last one, Profess LCH. Oh, shit, girl.
Linda Charlamagne Harris.
She says, happy holidays, Rod and Karen. I've been away from the blackout tips for a while. Decided to listen during an unexpected drive on a bit mountainous road to keep myself calm and distracted. The Marvel discussion was really smart. And honestly, guys, that's why we do it, okay? If the professor ain't calling y'all podcast smart, I got fatigue of you. Y'all stop making shows.
Stop it.
But what made me write this email was a discussion on the epidemic of loneliness. Baby, where are the nomination forms for Excellence in Broadcasting Awards? Your discussion was so raw and poignant, it sounded like a cry in the wilderness by prophets who beseech us to remember our humanity. I'm an introvert who is happiest alone, yet during the pandemic, I recall hurting for extroverts. They were so trapped, suffocated for a way to get their energy. Mm-hmm. Though lockdown helped save their lives, the low quality of that life made it almost worthless to some. And though I'm an introvert, I suspect that I am probably a better human being when I bump up against the ridiculousness, inconvenience, and annoyance of other people. I agree. Fully agree.
Yeah, it has to be a balance. And
sometimes I go out and like, you know, someone's being annoying, and honestly, I have gratitude and appreciate it in a way I did not before. Because it's just after the pandemic, I'm like, this is happening. Like, look at you being an asshole in a restaurant. Look, can't help yourself. You see my earphones and you gonna talk to me anyway? Go ahead, and let me have it, buddy. What the fuck is happening?
That's why I'm surprised you survived me.
It humbles me. It makes me a kind of person. It slows me down. It makes me more considerate. So as I drove literally closer to the heavens, your conversation figuratively elevated me that much higher. Thank you for the years of quality content. I'll hang up now and take your comments on air. Press LCH. Honestly, no comments, no notes. That was beautiful. I can't think of a better way to end this episode.
Yay, we love you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad you're still, out there orbiting the universe of the Blackout Tips after all this time, and I hope you got to where you were going safe and had a good time. If you guys want holiday cards, like I said, I ordered 100. I'm currently looking at 44 people that have left us their addresses. So, y'all do the math. But
you better get in while they're getting too hot.
We did get the cards in. I'm looking at the design.
They're adorable.
I also ordered some stickers to go in them. So I'll be putting a sticker in each one when I do that. And and just harness my inner white woman of color just completely. And sending these cards out every year. All right, y'all. Until next time, don't forget Black Friday sale. The blackouttips.com/Black Friday. Plenty of people are signing up. Plenty of people are renewing.
December the 5th.
Yeah, until December the 5th. So until next time, I love you.
I love you too.
Mwah. Bye, everybody. Have a good night. Peace.